Sometimes people say they're waiting for the right time. They have big dreams to start a business, learn a skill, change their life, but they keep waiting. Waiting for more money, more confidence, more motivation. But the truth is, the right time never comes. This is the story of Arav, a boy who was lazy but ambitious. He wanted success, but he didn't want to start. Until one day, life pushed him to make a choice, to either keep waiting or finally prove himself. What happened next changed his life forever. In a small town near the Green Hills lived a young boy named Arav. He was smart, full of ideas, and always talking about doing something big in life. He dreamed of owning his own company one day. Maybe a clothing brand, maybe a tech startup. He hadn't decided yet. But he was sure he'd be rich, successful, and respected. Every evening, Arav sat with his friends at the tea stall, talking about dreams and big plans. "I'll start my own business soon," he said confidently. His friends nodded, though most of them had heard it many times before. But when the next morning came, Arav would wake up late, scroll through his phone, and spend the rest of the day watching videos or sleeping. He always found reasons to delay his plans. "I'm just not in the mood today. The timing isn't right. I'll start next week." Next week never came. His father, Raghav, was a simple tailor. Every morning before sunrise, Raghav opened his small shop in the market. He worked hard from dawn to dusk, sewing clothes for the people of the town. Sometimes he looked at Arav, who still lay in bed even after the sun was high. He sighed and said gently, "Arav, dreams don't work unless you do." Arav would laugh and reply, "Father, you'll see. One day I'll make it big, bigger than anyone in this town." Raghav smiled softly. "I hope so, son." But remember, even big trees start from small seeds. But Arav didn't listen. He wanted success, just not the work that came before it. Days turned into months and months into years. Arav was now 23. His friends had moved to different cities, started jobs, or opened small shops. But Arav was still at home, still dreaming, still waiting for the right time. One evening, his father came home tired. His hands were rough, and his eyes looked heavy. He placed a small envelope on the table and said quietly, "Arav, the rent for the shop has increased again. I'm thinking of closing it soon." Arav was shocked. "Close the shop? But that's our only income?" Raghav smiled faintly. "I know, but I'm getting old, son. My hands don't move as fast as they used to. I hoped you'd take over or start something of your own by now." Arav didn't respond. His throat felt dry. He had always thought there was time, more time to plan, to start, to begin. But suddenly, it didn't feel that way anymore. The next morning, Arav went with his father to the shop. He saw the faded signboard, the old sewing machine, the pile of unfinished clothes. For the first time, he noticed how hard his father worked every single day just to keep things running. He helped him for a few hours, passing threads, folding shirts, taking measurements. By the end of the day, his back ached, his eyes burned, and his mind was spinning. That night, Arav couldn't sleep. He looked at the ceiling and thought, "What am I doing with my life? I keep talking about success, but I haven't even taken the first step." He got up, sat at his desk, and opened his old notebook filled with ideas. Business plans, app concepts, clothing sketches, things he had written years ago but never started. Page after page, he saw dreams that had died before they even began. He whispered to himself, Maybe I'm not lazy. Maybe I'm just scared." The next morning, he woke up early, earlier than he ever had before. His father was surprised to see him up. "Where are you going?" Raghav asked. Arav smiled softly. To start, father. Maybe small, but I'll start. Arav didn't have much money, but he had an idea. He decided to start small, designing simple printed t-shirts and selling them online. He borrowed his father's old sewing machine and used his phone to learn basic stitching and printing. It wasn't easy. The first few shirts looked terrible. The colors bled, the fabric tore, and sometimes the print came out upside down. He got frustrated. Maybe I'm not meant for this, he muttered one evening, tossing a ruined shirt aside. His father, who was watching quietly, smiled and said, "Every expert was once a beginner, Arav. Keep going." Those words hit deep, so Arav tried again. Day after day he improved. One stitch, one design, one shirt at a time. Soon he created 10 decent shirts and posted their pictures on social media. He didn't expect much. But within a week, 2 of his friends placed orders. Then a few strangers messaged him asking for the same designs. For the first time in his life, Arav felt something new. Momentum. It wasn't success yet, but it was progress. He started waking up early, working late, learning about marketing, fabrics, and design. The same boy who once wasted days now couldn't wait to start working each morning. One evening, while stitching, he smiled and said to himself, "All those years I waited for the right time. But this was the time." Months passed. Arav's small idea began to grow. He named his brand Rise Up. The name came from his own journey, from laziness to action, from dreams to doing. He didn't have a fancy office or a big team. He still worked from the same small room, using the same old sewing machine that once belonged to his father. But now his phone buzzed with new orders every week. One day, his father visited his room and saw dozens of neatly packed parcels ready for delivery. He smiled quietly and said, "So, this is your business now?" Arav nodded, his eyes bright. "Yes, Papa. It's not big yet, but it's mine." Raghav placed a hand on his shoulder and said softly, "You didn't just start a business, Arav. You started yourself." Those words stayed with Arav. He realized that all the years he spent waiting for confidence, waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect time, were just wasted chances. The truth was, there's no perfect time. The moment you begin, the world begins to move with you. Years later, Arav's brand Rise Up became known across his city. He wasn't the richest businessman, but he was proud of the person he had become. One evening, a young boy from the neighborhood came to him and said, "Brother, I want to start something too, but I'm waiting for the right time." Arav smiled, hearing his own old words in that sentence. He gently said, "The right time isn't coming, my friend. You have to create it. Start where you are, with what you have. Action creates luck, not waiting." The boy nodded slowly, and Arav looked up at the sky, whispering to himself, "I proved to myself that change begins in the mind." This story teaches us 3 important lessons. Stop waiting for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. The right time begins the moment you take your first step. Success doesn't come from big dreams, but from small daily actions. Even tiny progress each day builds big results over time. Your mindset shapes your life. When you believe in effort more than excuses, everything starts to change. Every dreamer faces a moment of truth, the moment they stop waiting and start moving. Arav's story reminds us that success doesn't come to those who sleep on their dreams. It comes to those who wake up for them. So if you've been waiting for the perfect time, this is it. Start now. Prove yourself, not to the world, but to the person you see in the mirror. Because once you change your mindset, your whole life begins to change.